Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Durham and I'm the College of Liberal Arts Schools Council President. On behalf of the College of Liberal Arts, I would like to welcome you to the Digital Nonprofit Panel. Although we can't meet in person, I would like to thank the Career Services team for continuing to put on digital events and each and every panelist who has taken time out of their day to answer some questions for us. Now, let's get started.
Hey everyone, my name is Tara Collins and I serve as the Director of Marketing for NeverThirst. I've been there about 6 months, but in total I've been working in the nonprofit industry or consulting for nonprofits for about 6 years.
Hi, I'm August Griffith. I am the Director for Women Business Leaders, also known as WBL here in Birmingham, and I have been in this position for 8 weeks.
My name is Courtney Orazine. I'm on staff with United Way of Central Alabama as a Major Gifts Officer in their Resource Development Department, and I have worked there for 7.5 years.
War Eagle, my name is Justin Shugart, Senior Director for Fundraising Campaigns and Volunteer Engagement at the Crohn and Colitis Foundation. I'm in my 10th year with the foundation and have a total of 15 years of experience in the nonprofit industry.
Hi, this is Andrea Oliver, and I'm the Director of the Foundation for Marshall Medical Centers, a not-for-profit community-owned health system in Marshall County, Alabama, and I started my job in September of 2008, so I've been with my organization for almost 12 years now.
So I first got a foot in the door with my first nonprofit job really because I had an online resume. We called it an e-portfolio at the time, but basically I had created a personal website that showcased my resume, my experience, my work, my interests, my passions, what I was looking for in a job. And at the time, that was kind of rare. No one else had that. I would still recommend doing that. Build a personal website. It is worth it, 100%. Sometimes employers can have a perception about a new college grad and be unwilling to hire without seeing some experience. So show them your professionalism, show them your experience in college, how you've been preparing for this, how you are equipped to jump in now. My current job at NeverThirst, I actually got a foot in the door with them when I was at Auburn. I ran for Miss Auburn, did a campaign platform around the water crisis and fundraised for them. So they were small at the time and we stayed in touch throughout my career. So now when they are growing and around to hiring a marketing director, I was top of mind for them. So I would encourage you to, as you step into your career, keep in touch with organizations or people at organizations that you genuinely care about, because it can come full circle and you can end up in roles that you never thought you'd be in, like me.
I got plugged into WBL about 3 years ago, and Women Business Leaders is a nonprofit organization that encourages women in their work and faith. So I was actually a working woman who I got connected to the ministry actually through the previous director. She and I began a relationship, and she served as a mentor to me for the past couple years. And then I also participated in one of their small groups and then went to some of their networking events. So really, I was blessed by this organization and the ministry that they do for working women, and that's really how it impacted my life and led me to the opportunity to interview for this role now.
Growing up, I was always involved in community service. After school, in high school, I worked at an after-school tutoring program at Jeff State Community College. And that's kind of where my love for community service started. I actually was a participant in the Miss America program, and so I competed at Miss Alabama numerous years, and we had to have a platform or a social impact initiative. And through my work with the after-school tutoring program and various other nonprofits like Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Clubs, American Cancer Society was another one that was near and dear to my heart. I decided that nonprofit was what I wanted to do with my career, with my communications degree from Auburn. And so I actually won the title of Miss Alabama in 2011 and was introduced to United Way at an appearance. I was in the Wiregrass area for the United Way out there and realized that there was an umbrella organization such as United Way that raised funds for these nonprofits that I felt so passionately about. And so there was an opening here in Birmingham, and I applied. And through my volunteer work and my experience with the Miss America organization as Miss Alabama, I was able to apply for a position called a relationship manager in their resource development department. I worked in that role for about 4 years, and now I am in the major gifts department, which deals with donors who give $10,000 or more annually. So it's been a natural progression for me, but it started out by finding something I was passionate about, seeing a job opening and going for it.
Through high school and college, I was always very involved in multiple student organizations and naturally built up an interest in participating in and planning events for whether it be a club or a sports organization or something on campus. When I was a student at Auburn, I always truly found a natural interest in those types of opportunities. Tragically, when I was in college, one of my best friends passed away, and it led me to the opportunity to help establish a nonprofit organization in his name, in memoriam of him in our hometown. Through that, I gained additional knowledge and support of actually establishing and going through the state and federal process of establishing a 501c3 nonprofit organization, leading annual fundraisers and giving out scholarships to students from our high school in our friend's name. So through this, it naturally led me further down the path of wanting to pursue the opportunity to help others in a greater capacity, and led me to apply for a job right out of college, which is what got my start in nonprofit career.
I guess you could say I got a foot in the door of my organization starting my junior year of high school. When I was a junior, there was a leadership program at my school that I participated in, and I had to do mock interviews with people in our community. And one of the ladies that I did a mock interview with when I was 17 years old ended up being the person that hired me for my job when I graduated from Auburn. And so I think that just goes to show that you never know exactly who you're coming in contact with throughout your whole life. And so you should always do your best no matter where you are, because you never know what might end up being someone who might recommend you for a job later on in the future. And in this case, that's exactly how it worked out for me.
It really is not a typical day. And like I said, I'm new to this role, so every day really has looked different, but primarily I spend the first part of my morning in the office working on administrative tasks and just coordinating different aspects of the ministry. I then usually hop out for a coffee appointment with somebody, and it's usually, it could be somebody that I'm trying to get as a corporate sponsor, or somebody interested in the ministry, or a leader of the ministry, just checking in with them. Typically I have a lunch appointment, and that could again be with an individual, or it could be with a group of women that participate in one of our small groups. And then I usually circle back to the office again in the afternoon just to wrap up any administrative needs. Usually we are working towards a big event, and so it helps to be with the team and the awesome administrative team available to us so we can all work together on some of those details. But I love that aspect. I love that I can be out and about building relationships, but then also come back to home base and be a part of a team that sits in an office and can collaborate and really work together.
So one part or aspect of this job that was so enticing to me is that every day is a little different. You never know what your day is going to consist of. For me as a major gifts officer, we like to do our visits face-to-face as much as possible. Obviously phone calls and emails are great, but face-to-face visits are our most important aspect of the job. Dealing with donors who give $10,000 or more annually, it's important for us to get in front of them and thank them over and over again. And if we're not thanking donors, we're prospecting donors. We're looking for people in the community that could potentially give at such a high level. United Way is our bread and butter, we like to say, is workplace campaigns. And so we are an organization that's approved to come in and speak to employees at meetings or rallies, talk to them about United Way, educate them about what United Way is doing in our community, and make the ask for them to give to their community for us to be able to raise funds for the nonprofit agencies that I mentioned that I'm so passionate about. And so day to day could be very different. One day I could have multiple meetings at multiple businesses or industries to go speak to employees about education, about what United Way has to offer and why they should give to United Way. Or I could be visiting with a donor to thank them and get to know them, get to know their interest, and see how we can better get them plugged in at United Way about something that they feel better and more passionate about. And just cultivating relationships is the name of the game. My communication degree has certainly come into play to be able to speak with donors, meet them where they are, and encourage them and help them feel good about the donation they're making to United Way for the betterment of our community.
An ordinary day for me at the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation looks a little different every week. 70% of the time I'm traveling, and 30% of the time I'm working from my home office where I'm at now. When I am home, I am in virtual contact with 14 different chapters across the country, anywhere from Minneapolis, Minnesota, out west to Las Vegas, Nevada, as far south as Miami, Florida. And just about everywhere in between. And in my work, I am collaborating with those colleagues on planning and executing and strategically working towards their fundraising goals for their annual special events. Special events at the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation are designated as galas, golf tournaments, cocktail events, foodie events. Anything typically unique is where my specialty lies. When I am traveling, I am either going to actually support the staff at these events as they're being held, or in prep work ahead of the events and helping them conduct strategic planning meetings to map out our plan for the year, to have committee meetings directly with volunteers, or even participate in chapter-wide board meetings as we discuss the fundraising initiatives of that particular chapter for the year.
One thing I always tell people that I love about my job is that no 2 days are ever the same. Some days we're planning events and picking out tablecloths and flower arrangements. Other days we're calling on donors and sitting in their living room, hearing stories about what's meaningful to them and how they want to give back. And then on weeks like the last few weeks here in the state of Alabama with the COVID-19 epidemic, we've been literally working at a daycare for our employees' children who no longer have anywhere to go since our schools have been canceled. And so one thing that I do love, again, about what I do is that no 2 days are ever the same, but I always know that when I come to work, I'm going to be doing something that is benefiting our organization, but more importantly, benefiting the health of our community.
Okay, what are we looking for in a new hire? I would say this centers around 3 things. The first is experience. Obviously, the question is, what is your relevant experience? But I would say go beyond that. Like, what has prepared you to step into this role that you're applying for? How do you think you are uniquely equipped to serve our organization in this capacity? And if it's not relevant experience to the job, show how hard you've worked in that experience. So for instance, like, we want to know that we can trust you to do the job. We are investing donor money in you to hire you, and we want to see a return on that. So show us what your work ethic is like. The second thing is interest. If you do not have the desired experience that you maybe want in this area or have as much as you'd like, I would say you can make up for that some with interest. So show us how you're willing to learn the field, what specifically you want to learn to help our organization go forward. And I would say too, start showing that now. For instance, I was able to walk into my first post-grad nonprofit interview and show them a solid understanding of the water nonprofit sector because I had been researching and following the best groups in the field for years in college. So start now. Side note, if you know for sure that you'd love to start in the nonprofit world, start following some of your favorite NGOs now. So start learning from nonprofit professionals, reading books that are from them, get their emails, follow them on social, etc. I would also say that if I was hiring in the marketing space, I would love to see business acumen. So do you understand how to prioritize goals? Do you see the importance of like smart fundraising, audience engagement, a proper sales funnel, etc.? I was in the business school at Auburn to study marketing, but took nonprofit studies classes, moonlighted in the journalism school to learn visual storytelling. So hop around, learn what your weekend that could be relevant for your career. The last thing is shared values. This is huge for all nonprofits, but particularly for NeverThirst, we're a faith-based organization, so identifying with our core mission and values is huge for us, and it really shows that you are going to really understand and believe in our work.
I think the most important quality that I would look for in an intern or a new grad is that they would support and believe in our mission. WBL exists to transform the marketplace by pointing women to Christ, encouraging them in their faith, and helping them make a difference in their workplace and their home for God's glory. So it would just be important that this person supports that mission alongside us, believes in it, and really wants to make impact. I think that would be just a really important aspect if you were to join our team or want to pursue a role here.
For new graduates looking to begin a career in the nonprofit industry, and in particular, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, I would say we'd be looking for the obvious, someone that's passionate about fundraising, but in particular, 3 specific traits and qualities in that individual: someone that is a strong collaborator, someone that is proactive in their daily work, and someone that has the ability to build relationships. Each of these traits and skill sets are critical to our daily operation, both internally and externally, as we are a volunteer-led, staff-supported organization, which means that we have to rely on others to help us achieve our goals, both daily and annually. So we are constantly looking for opportunities to collaborate, be proactive in our work, and build relationships that will help us achieve our mission.
The biggest thing I would be looking for in a potential new employee is someone who is able to be highly motivated, someone that's a self-starter, and then most importantly, someone who takes pride in their work. And not just maybe the big events or the times where it's very obvious that you've done a good job, but even in the very minute details of what you're doing. And so we at our office, we try to execute everything with excellence, whether that be just posting something for social media or planning a gala for 500 people. So those 3 qualities are really top of my list when I'm considering a new employee.
So while I was still at Auburn, my internship actually was with the Children's Hospital Foundation. Children's Hospital turns out to be one of the agencies that United Way helps raise funds for every year. And so that was a natural connector for me. At the foundation, I was over we had to come up with an event or a fundraiser, and I would say that was where I learned a lot. Event management or event planning is a big part of the fundraising job also. We do a lot of that at United Way as well, and so that was a great learning tool for me to learn how to put on an event, vendors to come, what people would be interested in learning about or doing at this event, and then raising a lot of money in the process. That was very helpful for me. As far as volunteer work goes, just really getting plugged in with different nonprofits around the area to kind of learn how they operate. I know that there's opportunities for junior boards. I know as a young person graduating or looking to see what your future holds, it seems hard to be able to get plugged in and get involved, but volunteering is really where you learn the most and where you can really learn about an agency or an organization and how it operates. And my encouragement would be just don't hold back. If you see a job opportunity that's out there or an internship that looks like it might be halfway interesting to you, I promise you're gonna learn so much from that. Don't be fearful that you don't know the ins and outs of the industry or the ins and outs of the job just yet. Really take a risk. I think that that's where you learn the most, is when you kind of get outside of your comfort zone. But you will cultivate skills. You will learn more about the industry if you just get out there and try it. And so that's my encouragement to you. Don't be fearful. Find something that you really feel great about. A job is going to be your job forever, but if you find something that you enjoy daily, it doesn't feel as much of a job.
For current college students looking forward to a potential career in the nonprofit industry, I would strongly encourage the opportunity for an internship or volunteer work ahead of your graduation. Whether that be on campus, in the Auburn Opelika community, back in your hometown, or in a city across the country, these unique experiences as they're presented would be highly valued on any resume. And I would encourage you to not settle for the internship or the volunteer work that meets all of your strengths. Try to find something that will challenge yourself individually to learn and grow. Just doing the same old is not going to necessarily advance your own abilities and skill set, but stepping outside of what you know to be your strengths and learn from others and learn how to become a better person, but also a stronger worker, whether that be by internship or volunteer work, would be really well received in the hiring process for a nonprofit. Specifically with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundations, our internships and volunteer work look different from city to city and chapter to chapter. Some of our chapters do hire interns on a kind of seasonal basis, fall, spring, summer, and then we do have year-long internships, but we are always looking for volunteer work, whether that be for support at special events or whether that be actually fundraising. So there's numerous opportunities within the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, as well as across the country. Just depends on what your interest is and how you feel like you could benefit from those opportunities as they're presented.
If you are interested in working for a not-for-profit, and specifically a medical not-for-profit, I do think it would be important for you to seek out internships or volunteer work in the same sort of field. So volunteer for a hospital or a hospital foundation or any other not-for-profit that deals with patients and health and well-being of communities. And I think that would give you a great indication of whether it would be a good fit for you or not.
So what social change is NeverThirst making? I would say two aspects of this. The first is for the people that we serve. We work in remote regions in Africa and Asia, and we're changing their lives. 785 million people still do not have access to clean water in 2020, and we want to work until that number is zero. So it changes, when people get clean water, it changes the health of a community. It lessens sickness, lessens the spread of disease. It puts children back in school. They're not spending all their days walking to fetch water, so it increases the education levels in different communities. And probably my favorite aspect of it is women and girls spend like about 200 million hours every single day around the world walking to get water. And so when they have clean water in or near their home, those hours are restored to them. So can you imagine what happens to a society when women and girls get 200 million hours back to them one day? Like, we're gonna see so many businesses started, girls are going to be in school, people can be with their families. Like, it will truly change the economic and social fabric of society. The second aspect of it for us is for our giving community. Most of those people are stateside, our donors. So we see them showing generosity to the world. We partner with businesses, especially in Alabama, who have honestly like rewritten their business strategies and product plans to give to clean water projects. We see families and communities step up and give and just watch generosity pour out from their communities in new ways. So I believe that giving begets gratitude and gratitude begets a fulfilling life. So it's a joy to partner along our giving community.
Our foundation's mission is to come alongside our hospital, Marshall Medical Centers, to make a difference in the health of our community. And whether that's through putting money in a patient's hand to pay for medications, or say a gas card to get them back and forth from their cancer treatment, or by funding new programs, or by funding capital needs, then we really think that what we do is important because it does uplift the health of our community and it really does make positive change. So It's a very worthwhile work, and if you're interested in not-for-profit work, I really do urge you to consider healthcare because people who are healthy certainly are happy, and it really can make a difference in your own community.
Thank you again to all of our panelists. You can find their contact information on the screen if you would like to reach out to them directly or connect with them on LinkedIn. If you need to take the Qualtrics quiz for internship scholarship or class attendance, you can find that in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and War Eagle!